Welcome, dear friends, to Cardiac Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls with the Spirit of Truth. This book that came through two mediums in 1960, published in 1960, or 60 years ago. This book came to life in Brazil thanks to Chico Xavier and Waldo Vieira, a group of spirits that are truly aligned with the truth, came to extend to us the understanding of the truth, because the truth sets us free. We, in our humanity on earth, we're still living blindsided. We still think of this life as an everlasting life, as if death and the afterlife is something far away from us or not even existent. The truth brings to us the awareness that life is a true, beautiful continuum. And Andre Luiz today, thanks to the mediums Waldo Vieira and Chico Xavier, will bring to us a new breakdown. Andre Luiz is the spirit doctor of the books No Solar, The Messenger, and Life Goes On, Liberation Between Heaven and Earth, Mechanisms of Mediumship, Workers of the Life Eternal, Evolution into Worlds, and Life Goes On, and others. Andre Luiz has much to teach us. He teaches us, as Mentor Joseph often says, to use bifocal lenses in our everyday life. What are we doing that is producing connections? What is it that we are feeling or thinking or saying or doing that is making us connect with other minds of the beyond or incarnated as well, and thus creating mental currents that will resound in us a feedback loop. So when people say, oh, I'm just thinking, I'm just saying it, I'm just doing it, friends, there is no just anything. There's no neutral position. It's either on or off. On the current of constructiveness or off the destructiveness. There's no in between. But he's going to tell us something that is regarding our afflictions. When we go to the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 5, the longest, blessed are the afflicted. There is an item, number 5, under the title, Current Causes of Afflictions. And Kardec says to us, human law reaches certain wrongs and punishes them. Condemned persons can thus be said to bear the cause of what they have done. But the law does not and cannot reach every wrong. It touches mainly the wrongs that harm society and not the ones that harm those who commit them. God, however, wills the progress of all individuals, which is why God does not fail to correct any departure from the moral path. There is no wrong, no matter how small, or any infraction of the divine law that does not have powerful and unavoidable consequences that may be regrettable or less so. He continues explaining some more, but Andre Luiz titles this message today, Neither Punishment Nor Forgiveness. What do you think he's going to tell us? What we love the best about Spiritism. Let's read together, shall we, friends? The Spiritist finds in their own faith revived Christianity new stimuli to live with joy, because with it The fundamental concept of existence receive powerful breaths of renovation. Stop, just one paragraph, one sentence, and a masterpiece. We cannot take for granted when a spirit that is so aligned with the truth on earth brings to us the truth. He's saying that we spiritists, we recognize that spiritism brings the Christ consciousness to us in such a way that it renews our joy, it renews our hope. Powerful breaths of renovation. What an expression. Don't you feel renewed? I do too. Because this understanding that we have 10,000 reasons to be joyful. We're not talking about happiness yet. We're talking about joy. The joy of living, right? The joy of existing, the joy of being. And he continues, earth is not a prison of eternal suffering. No, it is a blessed school of souls. It's understandable during this pandemic that many of us have been feeling like we are imprisoned because we don't feel like we are free to go here, there, and everywhere. If we could just see, if we could just see the prisons of our thoughts, we would less than anything blame it on earth. Earth is so beautiful. It's springtime here in the North Zone, and we see the beautiful flowers blooming. It's a gift from God to us. The blessing to be able to see it, to perceive it, to see the colorful spectrum of nature all around us. And Andre Luis now is going to talk about happiness. He says, happiness is not a mirage of the future, it's reality today. How come? When you go back to the Spirit's book by Kardec, we're going to find that Allan Kardec asked this question. Can we find happiness on earth? And the Spirit said, well, hold your horses there in the sense, remember, our planet Earth is a planet that is undergoing a phase of trials and atonements. So we cannot expect in any event that in a planet that is undergoing trials and expiations, we're going to be jumping up and down in happiness, but we can start building it today. How so? By minimizing the problems that we create. Many problems we have, it's because we created out of our own carefulness. Like, let's say I go to the playground with my daughter, meet new people, and I'm not careful because I use a mask, the person's not using a mask, and I do not refrain from talking to the person, then I get sick. Can I complain? Can I blame it on the person? No. Why? Because I was careless. So I will create happiness, not in the future, but today, if I start being dutiful before life. I know many people are always thinking about vacations, escapaways. It's so sad. It shows the immaturity of the soul because during this time, it's immaturity, it's selfishness, it's pride, because there are many people who are suffering, who need help, and we are indulging in entertainment. We're indulging in escapaways and in getaways, in all sorts of short trips, long trips. And at the end of the day, we are attracting what? A commitment with our own conscience. We can't sleep well. Maybe we can for a while, but one day, we will regret being so selfish when humanity is convulsing in pain. We can't forget that the inner conscience contains the laws of God. And if we only think about our own good, our own family good, we will fail. Pain is not forged by others, it's the creation of the Spirit itself. The pain that I create in the Gospel according to Spiritism, items 4 and 5, Kardec is going to explain to us the majority of the sufferings that we have in life come from the current life, the current decisions we are making. What we eat, what we don't eat, what we drink, what we don't drink, what we say, what we don't say today, what we do and what we don't do today. And we tend to think that somebody else created it for us. No, we had an inner magnet inside of us, right? Pain is perception. That's why it is within us, because I can change the way I perceive that stimulus that for me is becoming painful. But if I give it a new meaning, I can also feel that that new stimulus is not painful at all. Virtue is not future contentment. It's joy, jubilation that already exists. Do you remember the book, The Family Virtues Guide? Yes. That book is a good book for us to practice at home. To think about being virtuous, practicing virtues every day, even in the silence of our attitude, but allowing people to be who they are, allowing people to expand in their possibilities and be supportive in that. There's great virtue in that. I'll talk about virtue in a different way today. There is a podcast that I listen every day, and it's not in English, and I apologize, but it's a Spiritist podcast in Brazil. But we try to relay the main parts of the message always here, so you don't miss it. But every time we have that podcast, in that environment, there is one woman who is always playing the piano. She begins playing the piano. The coordinator starts saying the prayer, starts explaining the gospel, and then another woman comes and explains. So from Célia Regina George to Ana Maria Pereira, they explain it, and then Ana Maria Pereira finalizes with a final prayer when the pianist named Fabiana is playing the piano. So you and I are thinking, we never hear the voice of the person playing the piano, but we don't want to, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to hear her play the piano. So she's a wonderful pianist, but more than a pianist, she knows how to be quiet. So The music can feel the therapeutic space for all of us. How often we are incapable of being silent, of being quiet. And if probably we were the pianist, we would be chit-chatty, talkative, because we usually think that we're the performers. But in Spiritism, a true pianist understood that art for the good is not about performing. It's about delivering medicine to the soul. We need to be quiet. We need to learn how to blend in, to disappear. Because sometimes, as Emmanuel used to say through Chico Xavier, people are not helping. I remember Divaldo Franco telling me, there are people, Vanessa, who cannot be quiet because they want to show that they are present. They want to help, but they want to mark down that they were there. Ceiling, I was here. Bing, boom, boom. Look at God, silent. Look at Joseph, the father of Jesus Christ, in a message by Emmanuel showing to us the how he was playing the silence of God. We need to learn it. That's virtue. Virtue is not something that speaks, says Andrea Lewis, but it's a virtue that expands from us and that we need to practice every day. Like that pianist in the podcast. Thank God she blends in and she doesn't say a thing, but she plays, which makes a whole difference. But she doesn't come and says, hi, hello, how are you? No, she knows how to sit down, play, and done. And the world is listening and she's not manifesting a thing. Would we be able to do it? Because usually we don't. We need to show our face. We need to write our name. We need to sign our signature. We need to stamp the seal of our presence. And there's no virtue in that. Death is not an automatic sanctification. It's a change of work and climate. Death, many people think, oh, they died. Poor them. Oh, I think they're much better now. Why would anybody be better if we just continue who we've been? If on earth we spend our days only worried about bills, about money, about material things, why would we expect that after death people would not be concerned about it at all? So we change work like Andrea Lewis. He couldn't work as a physician any longer, not at first. He changed the ambience, first in the lower zones, then in the spiritual colony. It changes. Death is a transformation, but that we create right now. What do we want to encounter in the after death? Do we want to encounter joy, friendship, and happiness? We need to cultivate it here. The future is not a stunning surprise. It's a consequence of the present acts. Yes, many of us teach wrongly our children. So they learn how to be superstitious, how to believe in luck, how to believe in sudden changes of luck, which doesn't exist at all. And life is a natural consequence of our actions today. The good is not the comfort of others only, it's the help to ourselves. So, doing good to others is good for us too. God is sovereign equality. He does not punish us, He does not forgive us, but the conscious being utters himself absolution or guilt sentences before the divine laws. God loves us. God doesn't punish us, doesn't forgive us. It is us in our own filter who will absolve ourselves or deliver the guilt sentence. Our conduct is the process, our conscience, the court. Let us not forget, therefore, that if the Spiritist doctrine expands the understanding of life, expands also the responsibility of the individual. The roots of the great trials erupt from the past, underground of our existence, and on the road to evolution. Whoever comes out of a line enters in another, because grave and cradle and grave are simultaneously entries and exits in eternal life plans. So he talks about responsibility. And this is something we need to cultivate in our children from the get go. Being responsible, feeling responsible, participating in life, participating of life. So it is vital for all of us who are here to embrace the responsibility of life as we expand our understanding of it. Andre Lewis is inviting you and I today to, there are choices here. We can make a choice. The choice to feel blessed or the choice of feeling cursed, which we never are. Because at the end of the day, God is sovereign equality, as he says. We can't complain. We are being educated by God. Do we accept the correction? Do we accept the lesson? It is up to us. You may be asking, what is the next 24 hours exercise? Remember, the exercises we do are vital, so we feel the scriptures. So, Mentor Joseph is asking us to meditate on the choices we have in life. Every day, in the next 24 hours, we're going to practice this. I can choose to feel the joy of living or not. Since this is how he says we renew ourselves, let us then choose joy. The joy of living, repeating to ourselves, I am light. I am peace. I am joy of living. And that's repeated within the next 24 hours. Whenever we can, repeat to ourselves, I am light. I am peace. I am joy of living. And thus we will be in greater alignment with life as Spiritism explains to us. Thank you, friends, for being here with us at Cardiac Radio once again. We wish you many blessings, and until tomorrow, God willing.